She thought she was clever, cutting the lock and stealing his Jeep to teach him a lesson. But what she didn't know was that the Jeep wasn't just parked anywhere. It was under the watchful eye of a police task force. And the moment she touched it, her entire world came crashing down. Marcus Johnson had always been a quiet man. A 38-year-old mechanic turned small business owner, Marcus was known in his city for his skill with cars, especially restoring Jeeps. He had bought a beautiful brick home in the quiet suburban neighborhood of Willow Creek, a place that promised peace after years of long shifts and hard work. His pride and joy sat in the driveway, a restored Jeep Wrangler with custom parts he'd spent years collecting. To Marcus, the Jeep wasn't just a vehicle. It was a dream realized. But to the HOA, led by the ever-demanding Karen Whitmore, the Jeep was an eyesore. Karen had been HOA president for years. She thrived on control, writing fines, and policing every mailbox, lawn, and parked car. When Marcus moved in, Karen saw his Jeep and instantly hated it. She called it too rugged. She claimed it lowered property values. She even said it looked like a gang vehicle. Marcus tried to reason with her. He showed her the bylaws, which clearly allowed vehicles in driveways. But Karen didn't care. "Rules are what I say they are," she snapped. One night, Marcus came home to find a neon-orange HOA warning taped to his Jeep. It threatened daily fines and possible removal. Marcus didn't trust Karen, so he took precautions. He parked the Jeep in a designated guest lot near the community clubhouse, a lot temporarily secured by the police task force for an unrelated surveillance operation. To be safe, Marcus also placed a heavy-duty lock on the Jeep's spare tire rack, ensuring no one could tow it. He had no idea that Karen's obsession was about to cross the line. Karen was furious that Marcus had defied her. In her mind, HOA power was absolute. So she marched to the lot late one evening with bolt cutters. Neighbors saw her muttering angrily as she clipped the lock, climbed into the Jeep and tried to move it. What she didn't realize was that the police task force had been monitoring the lot, using it as cover while investigating a stolen vehicle. Ring in the city, the Jeep wasn't just Marcus's pride and joy anymore. It was under surveillance. As Karen fiddled with the ignition, trying to force the Jeep into neutral, headlights suddenly flared. Unmarked police SUVs surrounded her. Officers in tactical gear leapt out, weapons drawn. "Step out of the vehicle." "Hands where we can see them!" Karen froze, her mouth dropping open. I'm the HOA president. This isn't what it looks like." But it looked exactly like what it was. Grand theft auto. Marcus, alerted by a neighbor, arrived just as officers dragged Karen out of the Jeep. He stood in stunned silence as she screamed, "This is his fault. He shouldn't even live here." The officers turned to Marcus. "Sir, is this your vehicle?" He held up the title, his voice steady. "Yes, and that's the woman who's been harassing me since the day I moved in." The officers quickly realized what had happened. Karen wasn't part of a car theft ring, but she had committed a crime all the same. They explained to the crowd of neighbors that had gathered. She had cut a private lock. She had attempted to move a vehicle without permission, and she had interfered with an active police operation. The fallout was immediate and brutal. Karen was arrested for attempted theft, destruction of property, and obstruction of a police operation. The HOA board, embarrassed and desperate to save face, held an emergency vote and stripped her of her presidency. Neighbors who once feared her began to come forward with their own complaints. Stories of harassment, fines, and petty cruelty filled the meetings, and Marcus, for the first time, he saw the community rally around him. Karen's face turned red as cameras rolled. Neighbors filmed everything, their whispers turning into laughter and shock. Marcus filed a civil suit for harassment and damages. With the mountain of evidence, videos, police reports, and witness statements, the case was open and shut. Karen was ordered to pay Marcus thousands in damages and was banned from holding any HOA position in the state. She sold her house quietly and moved away. Her reputation destroyed. Marcus kept his Jeep, and his peace months later. Marcus polished his Jeep in the driveway, no longer worrying about fines or threats. Neighbors stopped by not to complain, but to admire the vehicle and thank him for standing up to Karen. For Marcus, the victory wasn't just about the Jeep. It was about dignity, about proving that no one, not even an HOA bully, could strip him of what he had earned. Arrogance blinds the power-hungry. Karen thought cutting a lock would give her control. Instead, it exposed her corruption. What she didn't know was that Marcus wasn't just a homeowner with a Jeep. He was a man protected by the truth, by the law, and by his own resilience. And in the end, the HOA bully who thought she ruled everything lost it all with one snap of a lock. For years, Karen had ruled with intimidation, but now her arrogance had led her straight into handcuffs.